Acton Town Council, August 1st meeting. It looks like they're still trying to set up the Zoom. They're a few minutes late starting. I think they're having some technological problems here.
I think.
Give us any kind of report from except when the nicest office?
Oh, sure, be happy to. Okay, well, I'm Carlo Basal with Tom Lackey's field representative for Tom Lackey, Assemblyman Tom Lackey. The big report lately has been that the budget passed at the end of June, and they just started today going back. He's been off for a month, all of July, and today, Monday, he started back in Sacramento. They have approximately, I heard, 350 bills to look at, to pass. They're called trailer bills, resolutions, that kind of stuff. Basically to fill out the details of the budget. But among them, he's got a couple of wins for the local communities. He's managed to get a grant of money for Homes for Families, which will complete the construction of homes within a veteran-enriched neighborhood in Palmdale. Ultimately, 56 veterans and their families will receive affordable home ownership with the added benefit of wraparound health and veteran services. There's also money set aside to finish the construction of a multi-agency communications network for public safety professionals. It's an added layer of communication in times of emergency. There's also passed for a college-run study to improve our ability to monitor driving under the influences of drugs such as cannabis. Right now, there is no definitive test one way or the other. There is no breathalyzer for that. The last one is he managed to set aside and fulfill a local request to equip a mountain fire station over in Wrightwood with vehicles for off-roading emergency response. And, then in case of fire or rescue. There's still more legislative update stuff coming up. There's a bill for continual care for behavioral health services that's focusing on the youngest children, and he's also helping out with giving some flexibility to our farm, the state, assisting with the stability of food by addressing certain what do we call it, transportation issues, to extend an exemption in transportation inspections for farm vehicles. And then the budget also includes $100 million, this is from everybody, over 2 years to continue the Veterans Housing and Homelessness Prevention Program. These are investments made to shelter the veterans during the trauma of being homeless and living on the street. And lastly, he is still in the hunt. We are still looking to pass that resolution to rename Antelope Valley the Aerospace Valley. It's a type of branding, but it's something we could do for our businesses, our military, and all our industries are in the Antelope Valley, from small to large. And there's more work to be done, says the Assemblyman, and he just looks forward to doing it. All right, that's it for now.
Hey, Carl, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Coming up. Okay, I keep hearing in the news about the mandate to bring all electric vehicles like nuclear response.
Oh, yeah.
So, as I try to explain to people, including the Department of Regional Planning, there is no mandate. The governor of California is the governor of California, not the dictator of California. The Constitution is eliminated and Governor Newsom is became dictator. Then he can state and enforce a mandate to build no more new non-electric vehicles sold in the state for 20 whatever they like. So my question for review is, I keep seeing stuff coming out of LA County and other places that this is a mandate. Is there a bill that's been proposed that you're aware of that will say no electric, no fossil fuel vehicles will be sold in the state of California after 2035 or whatever it is?
Right now, I'm not aware of any bill. I will look it up again. I am with you. I was under the impression that it was a great talking point by the governor, and to show leadership, and then maybe talk people like the AQMD into accepting this idea.
Well,
Right now, I didn't see any legislative. I will look into it.
yes, like three weeks ago, ARB started. They can't implement rulemaking for a policy that's never been adopted as legislation. So
Yeah.
I'm concerned that nobody's telling the ARB yet that they don't actually have legislative mandate to develop this rule. And they had a huge workshop, I think it was last week or the week before. They
Yeah.
are going to do this. And it's not even, there's no this yet to read it. So if you could help me learn more about why everybody's running around and using them to actually get the law, including the air enforcement, I would really appreciate it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I will look into it, and we got one or two policy guys that are really good, and I'll call them tomorrow and see. Right now, I'm in the same boat you are. I thought it was something that the governor had spoken about and said, well, this is a mandate, but without the legislative teeth behind it. That's...
Not even a mandate. The only thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's an idea. It's like, this is what I want by 2035. You, the legislature, pass something.
Right.
The ARB, they have a lot of power. That's why the one thing I want to look into that. They have a lot of power to set different regulations and rules. But I certainly think that something like this, where we're getting rid of all new internal combustion vehicles, engine vehicles, I don't think it's covered
The air
by mandates.
the Air Resources Board is supposed to develop rules to implement legislation. It can't implement rules that aren't legislation.
Yeah.
It's just not even a thing, so.
Yeah. Well, but you know that but they have a lot of leeway. Legislatures in the past have given them a lot of leeway to formulate rules. I don't think this is one of those areas, but I will double check.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Any other public comment now that we have the Zoom working? No? Okay, we'll move on. Okay, correspondence.
Can I just, before we do that, can I just move that we switch agenda item 4 with agenda item 5? Should be submitted around.
Sure. I'll second that.
Correspondence. So,
Please say aye.
oh, aye, sorry.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
Congressman Garcia voted in favor of the Honoring Our Past Acts, which passed the House. If adopted, will allow the Department of Veterans Affairs to improve healthcare accessibility benefits to veterans suffering from disabilities related to toxic exposure. The well tax. A Daily Wire article made it sound like everyone on a private well will have to register and pay a tax if they use more than a certain amount. We reached out to Senator Wilkes' office in Brandon, located a deep dive, asking what the legislation was for this, because that's how the article was sent. It turns out, what Brandon provided, it turns out that the letters were only sent to people with wells in areas where the groundwater basin is overdraft. It's subject to SGMA, Sustainable Groundwater Management Act requirements. Neither of the groundwater basins under active or optional, they are in serious overdraft conditions, so no local resident should be receiving any of these letters. If you receive a letter, let us know if you're not supposed to get one. Does that answer your question? I don't.
Yes, that's.
Okay, good. A new crime deterrence program is offering using flyers that say no cash can register overnight or no cash in the store. They can be placed in business windows where would-be burglars can see them. Um, I think that's a great idea. It just seems to be like another way of normalizing dystopia. If I get the residents' business owners focused on that, to deal with going higher. The posters are available, we post them on the website, and print them and put them in your business. Regional Planning has launched their county-wide community wildfire protection plan, which is intended to provide community-focused fire protection and response strategies for all unincorporated at-risk communities. There is a workshop scheduled for August 3rd, that's in 2 days, from 5:30 to 6:30. That's on Wednesday. Registration is required. I asked you to put that announcement on. I don't know if you got to see that, but if you could, I emailed you earlier today. If you could post it on the website, then you find it on our website and see how to register. You can register and it's on the 3rd at 5:30. Last week, the Board of Supervisors voted unanimously to abolish the citizenship requirements for county jobs. The board estimates that 9% of county residents are here illegally. Now they are all eligible for high-paying for the job. Last week,
So there's no federal work permit required?
so certain jobs that require federal work permit, they have to be, so they can't be the sheriff's department. Yeah, that's backwards. But well, they can get driver's licenses.
So you don't have to be here legally to
You
get
have
a job.
You have to.
With LA County.
With LA County. So we're encouraging.
With LA County, you have to work with the sheriff's department.
The sheriff's department, because you are like this big in the county employee roster.
Not big enough.
Yes,
Yes,
it's crazy.
unanimously.
Unanimously, even part.
Even partner. What it said, that's true. Okay. Last week, Supervisor Barger issued an open letter to vocalize their opposition to reinstating a countywide mask mandate, noting that masking mandates lack empirical evidence. I appreciate her saying this. Lack empirical evidence to back their effectiveness, are unenforceable, polarizing, and most importantly, takes a huge toll on the social, emotional well-being of children and youth.
So I have a comment on that.
Okay.
I thought the whole board said that this is, we weren't going to do this. Was there a board motion that said that they weren't going to enforce the mask mandate?
No,
Was it only Barger?
I listened to that whole meeting, and what happened was, they just accepted it as a report from Ferrer, Dr. Ferrer. And Ferrer said, well, if they don't get better, we're going to put the mandate in on Friday. And then Ferrer announced on Friday, things are better, so we're not going to do anything. But Supervisor Barker and Supervisor Hahn both expressed concern with the implementation of, re-implementation of the mandate.
So my point on this is for Supervisor Barker and the other supervisors. If you have a public health officer that you appointed and put there, who is not a doctor, or at least not a medical doctor, gives advice that you immediately dismiss, maybe we should be looking for a different public health officer.
She pointed that it's not Dr. Ferrara who issues some health orders, that's state. So she, the voice of the department that she's with Dr. Davidson from health. And then I think it's there. But 3 of the boards of supervisors supported the aspect of
So they didn't actually take a vote.
and it's not a vote, it's an order by the public health officers.
But they could, the boards could,
Remove, well, sure.
well, that, or could also say, we're not acting on this recommendation.
The camera will share it. Yeah.
So then say again?
No, we said we remove the sheriff. I said, take it up.
No, well, I'm going to get to that.
Okay, I just want to, it's,
Just so a majority of the board backs Dr. Ferrara, but Dr. Ferrara technically is not the one who issues the health.
no, but she's the one who puts it out, and she's the one who's out.
Yeah, but I mean, so there is an MD who's not interested.
I'm sure there's a whole string of them.
Yeah.
So this is Dr. Davis, who actually
Yeah, he's the one who signed all these public health orders.
So they didn't decide not to enforce it, they decided not to enforce
Right, she said, she said it's gonna happen. And the board, she could say that, the board could put on the agenda for the next meeting to say, don't let it happen. The board did not do that. But then the staff came in on Thursday, so then on Friday, she said, okay, we'll waive it off the next. But it's still pending, I mean, it's still there. I agree. Okay. So, addressing wildfire prevention, this is another topic for Christina, but has been a top priority since getting into Congress in the last year, you introduced HR 5010, the Fire Act, that is inviting colleagues on both sides of the house to come together and deliver solutions to fight wildfires. Unfortunately, it failed on parts and balanced the watered down version that they actually did develop had very little benefit, so Congressman Garcia did not vote for it, but what he introduced tried to do better than what he was allowed to do. Tomorrow, the board does a final reading and vote on an action that will put a measure on the November ballot to amend the county charter to allow the board of supervisors to remove the county sheriff from office from the enforcement vote action. I talked about this at the last meeting, and I gave commentary on that in my comments. The case law on this action is very similar. Action was adopted in San Bernardino, but it applied to all county officers, not just the sheriff. The ordinance was taken to court, and the published decision states the following: to the extent that the sheriff may come under the sway of the board of supervisors due to threats of removal, under the code sections at issue, the sheriff is protected from possible political influence by the requirement that removal is, quote, right out of the ordinance. It is an extraordinary act that should occur in only the most egregious of circumstances and only when the interests of the citizens of the county cannot be reasonably served by any other means. That was out of the case law, out of the decision. Notably, that provision is highlighted in case law. It was included in the San Bernardino County ordinance to make sure that it's only used in the most egregious circumstances, right? That protective language is nowhere to be found in the LA County ordinance. So, in the case law that said this ordinance, under this ordinance in San Bernardino, where the sheriff is protected from political pressure, right? The sheriff is protected from being basically a lackey of the board of supervisors under threat of removal, is because there's this line in the ordinance. This special line does not exist in the LA County ordinance. It's just, you can remove it. In other words, the one provision of the San Bernardino County ordinance preserves the independence of the San Bernardino County Sheriff and ensures that he or she is not forced to do the bidding of the supervisor, is completely missing from the LA County ordinance. The reason is clear. The LA County Board of Supervisors want total control of the sheriff's department. Now, again, that I mentioned this last time in October, the Clean Power Alliance will be switching all their customers and active over to the 100% green energy program, which will raise their own rates. We've asked them what the rate increases will be. They will tell us sometime this month. Which will be made automatically without customer input. However, CPA has the Clean Power Alliance as a process where our customers can push themselves back to lower cost energy if they wish. We still have not received any outreach on the county's decarbonization ordinance development process that was supposed to start in March. The Department of Public Works is continuing its workshops on composting, waterwise gardening, small space gardening. You can post those on the website. And finally, there's a reminder again that hazardous waste and food waste can be dropped off in the Palmdale Waste Facility on the first and third Saturday of each month, rain or shine, between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. That's what I have.
Okay. I saw today that we got an email from a resident at Ham talking about illegal dumping on Hubbard again. Said that hundreds of trucks were going up there.
I have a report on that. You want me to do that right now? I started getting phone calls from several residents, so I went and checked it out to see what was actually going on. I actually reported it to the county today, Um, there is probably between, I'm going to say 250 and 300 loads that have been dumped on this particular property, which is at the very end of the pavement. And they're working from 8 p.m. at night to 2, 3, or 4 in the morning. And it's a continuous supply of trucks. So the word that I got was that it potentially could be coming from the freeway work that's being done on the 210. And I tried to go there, not last night, but the night before, to see if I could recognize any of the trucks that we've had before, and I missed them by a few minutes. But I can actually see the lights and everything from my house, so I've been watching. And there is a very accomplished excavator operator there who is, he's got water going, so he is doing compaction at the same time. And he is actually creating slope easements. There's 3 paths that have been created. There's every different color of dirt that you can imagine. So we know it's,
So,
I mean, it's concrete, it's,
So they're doing it at a time when nobody in the town is working, so they're not
Correct.
rushing something.
correct. But it's been reported.
Yeah, and they really show up and say, oh yeah, there's a bunch of dirt there, and we never issued a permit for this, so they don't need attention doing it.
Exactly.
But again, it looks like this is nature's land.
It is.
but you got some to do with it. Where did you receive the permit?
Yeah, they still have a permit.
Yeah, but
He knows what he's doing. He's very accomplished operator.
So, different paths for.
And doing slope, which, the experienced guy that actually has,
and that's why we just so they can stuff more dirt over it, get more pavement, because there's no way they're gonna be allowed to build. So they're not.
I'll tell you what they're gonna even think, wild gas, is what happened on that Lisa Canyon, is they think they're gonna put something there.
well, they've got 3 established paths right now, from what I saw. And I've got 4 neighbors up there who will notify me when they start working. They did not work last night, but if they start again tonight, I will go. We'll try to get names and pictures of trucks. And license plates around.
And the sheriff,
Like
what
with
do
the,
you do?
yeah.
The sheriff, what do you like, you don't have to take 2 years if they're running?
Yeah.
All the stations, we got legal company on, we got stuff.
Doesn't matter.
I'll accept that interpretation.
That's right.
Can you,
So-
you had that discussion?
Yes.
In the past, I canvassed plenty of them, they start pulling drivers out, getting their license and all that stuff, they stop, they start getting on the horn, and they start turning around, they don't want to,
Yeah.
commercialize.
That would be great. So you want to take over that?
I would do that one, that way. Similar to the one I did on this and
I would tell Sheriff Kathy, who's a very active resident.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because when you told me about that, I was real calling.
No, nobody called us.
So, I mean, like, a lot of people complain to you.
Well, not for
Right.
me.
No, I'm saying, I'm saying to the council, but are not directed to anyone that's
Right.
either.
Well, we didn't get anything. We got an email from Ted. It was from Ted saying, hey, it's all over social media. We're complaining about violence.
Well, he doesn't live on, he lives out on Aliso, so he's just reading.
If you're not driving around at midnight, you're not gonna see this work going on.
Well,
Once the county, once the Oscar look out there, start to make process with them, if you go over.
Actually, yes, thank God you called. I am so bored. I'm zooming into the
But
town.
that
council
can't
meeting and this
happen
is-
until we're going.
Yeah, today's the first time that the town council has happened.
well, the thing is that I think what they've been doing is they've been going there after midnight, is what one of the residents told me today. That they really weren't aware, and then all of a sudden they kicked it up and they're starting to come at 8 o'clock at night. So it was very well lit, and I just didn't get there fast enough. I was shocked.
most importantly, no, they're like, they're
Yes.
no, I'm just saying, like, a lot of times people take 60 pictures of people nothing, 0 license plate.
Oh,
And I'm like, well, that's a big wood drive. Yeah, well, they usually have a private license.
well, they're very aware, because when my son and I went there, the excavator operator was very concerned about where we were going and what we were doing. He was paying very close attention to us. So they know they're not supposed to be doing it. And so they've got the tractor there, the dozer there, so that they can, get rid of it and put the dirt so they can get more. That's what they're doing. So similar to what was going on at the other end, covered by where Don lives, that we watched for months before we could shut them down.
And the other thing is that you could already know that anytime when you have a lunch.
No, you cannot, you cannot get
In the
it.
morning, it's a truck that comes through.
Absolutely.
Like, that's not a normal construction hour.
The resident that called us yesterday said that there was 17 trucks in 1 hour. They were right behind each other. So wherever they're getting loaded on the 210, they're loading them one right after another, and they're powering up here so they can get back, get another load so they can get the trip. Yeah.
Yeah, are you trying to speak to us, or? Turn your speaker down. You're getting feedback.
We're having a hard time understanding.
Mm-mm. No.
She's, and, any,
Can you, do you have a headphone or a microphone? We're having a hard time understanding. I heard Ram truck, I did hear that.
Identify yourself, please.
Before that, it was 3 times more high school from you if you cross rider. Championship around National Circuit Finals 2018. Former Battle on Riding Director in the PRCA. I'm the DA. Live the moment, Texas. Getting ready with Ted Pepper.
There's a lot of feedback.
We can't understand what you're saying. I suggest that you call in on your phone instead of coming to the computer.
Strangers to each other.
You're gonna have to mute you, I'm sorry.
You're right. Hey, walk in on it. Out of the way.
I have no idea. We got a problem in a second.
That is a large incline actually right there. Look at that thing with the horse prepared. The horse don't land big up inside.
no.
That big, strong, powerful bucket horse with a lot of strong.
Sorry to do that, but you can't understand what you're saying. Can you type it in the chat and we can discuss that, but we can't understand anything you're saying.
Oh, the left hand is like it on the.
Yeah.
Other voices, right?
Sorry, the weakness, the good weather radio.
Yes.
Carbon next Maggie has been in touch with these days concerning the weather radios. She'd like to bring them to our next meeting. She'd like us to post that flyer that Orlando saw on our website so that people can fill out their paperwork. And they can actually come to the next meeting, which is August 15th, and pick up their radio without having to go to the fire station to pick them up where you live. Okay. So we're going to make sure we get that out there and let everybody know.
So those that had the flyer out, and they applied for it, and push the blue line to get on it. So they said to pick it up at the upper those, they live in center porch, 5:30 to 6:30.
Oh, okay.
On the office office.
So
we could post it out at the, pick up your.
Right.
Yeah.
So farmers will bring as many
We'll
as,
post that, you have to register. Right, I did,
or you can do it here, as long as you come first and pick up your paperwork and do it.
Oh,
She's gonna bring the paperwork.
I'm gonna send you the announcement.
Kelly, any announcement or correspondence? Anything else, Kelly?
No.
Jackie? No. All right. All right, we'll go to number 5, June Perkins, application for appointment to vacant seat. Sorry, I missed last meeting.
Spoke to us. I didn't notice it, though you said something. I didn't notice it. Yes, she expressed it from the meeting before.
Okay.
So we asked her to come and talk to public comment for the next meeting, that we could agendize it for this meeting.
And, okay, so she's booked at the last meeting.
Yeah. So, June, just so you know, that.
And they can figure it out, and you know what?
Today, that you will
This
still
is
have to
not
run in the
Sheldon's problem.
okay? You'll connect with some, correct, so that's correct. Just wanted you to know that.
Which is right around the corner.
Right on the floor. If I was at it earlier, though, should be, don't do it. Just don't.
Okay, so is there a motion to,
Yeah, I moved the meeting this week.
okay? Second?
Thank you. We all have experience. Oh, and you all do. You know, you do too.
It's a wide range of skills that are required.
Oh,
And diversity is key. And people with knowledge, white, not white, piece of the big puzzle being built by most. That makes any sense at all. So, all right, so any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Welcome.
Have a seat.
Come have a
Come on up.
seat. You're now official. Okay, now that piece of business.
Oh, you want to sit there? Or not?
You already made your papers.
Victor.
No, she said that she was here, but next time she's going to be over.
And if you feel that,
Yeah. Okay, election committee.
you know, if you feel awkward.
Okay, yeah, I don't know, did Jeremiah give you your statement?
You did not.
Okay. So, okay, you stood her up for election, are now June, Jackie, and Pam. And Jeremiah. So Troy, well, I don't think Troy will no longer be here. We don't know. We don't know. So Troy, myself, and Tom are the, basically the election.
Yes.
We need, somebody to make a motion to make that election committee, Kelly, for Tom. Okay?
Yes.
So I move that the election committee be comprised of Kelly, Troy, Tom. We need at least two, right? Yes. So at
Yes.
least Kelly and Tom, yeah, and Troy.
then, kind of strange, but I guess we need somebody to set for that. I'll second that. And the chairperson for this committee?
I can do that, no problem, but, and I've already talked to Jeremiah about the dates. So I will remind him about the dates. I will not be here at the next meeting with the application. He's brought some of the locations in town, so I don't know how we can credit for those and
Yeah.
try to put those out. Or using.
I'll take the responsibility of getting it up on the website and getting it around town.
Okay, I'll give you.
Just give me what I need.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so all in favor of the election committee as stated?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Moving on. NOVs. NOVs.
I sent an email to Oscar earlier today, I can't get that one. Asking, explaining that at recent meetings, several meetings, we've been told that the regional planning is for residents, that they can't have certain types of equipment on their property, like
And who is this owner? Who is this?
tractors. And so I sent an email to Oscar asking, saying that that's what we've been hearing from residents, asking if there's a list of equipment that's not allowed on residential property act. And if so, could we have a copy of the list and understanding what the regulations are that are based, that this list is based on?
So are we talking residential use on A1, or are we talking about actual residential use zone?
I asked for the list of equipment that's not allowed on property and active that is used for residential purposes.
I'm talking about use. Sorry about the use.
Well, no, we've been told that certain equipment is not allowed on the property. So on properties that have a residential use on them. And so, like cement mixers, which I almost fell out of my chair when I heard that, because we own cement mixers. We made our own concrete countertops.
The tractors are the biggest thing that we're hearing about.
Grade their roads, I mean, the dirt roads. So, and it's a farm, it's an ag community, how can you not have a tractor on the farm?
Well, that's why. So
Luxury tractor?
Right, then it's fine,
Yeah.
if they're gas.
Oh, okay. So,
My Ford 9 is not.
so, and then the
Are they
last,
referring to farm type tractor, or are they referring to a commercial truck tractor?
well, tractor trailer tractor. You just heard tractor, I don't know. Right, and Jackie, I've seen people that have the, on their property, and they're trying to install their houses, oh, you can't track this. Well, yeah, that's how that's how the issue came up, that's how it came up, but as I'm sitting here, well, I have a cement mixer, I don't have an NOV, but I can't have a cement mixer, I go, people own cement mixers. People in the city, cement mixers, right? It's like, I go, when I was living in Palmdale, I had a cement mixer in our garage, so, and another part of this, so that was a thing, I said that I haven't heard back yet. The other thing is that we were going to try to put together a committee to work with the residents. I don't know, I didn't get any emails back from anybody who's been willing to share people on that. Yeah, that's what yeah, she's already feeling it, but I don't know, share.
I
Yeah.
didn't get that.
We're
because
doing a
I
lot
didn't
of
see that.
huge amount of
What
work.
I saw was Kenneth Jones.
So, we were also going to talk about forming an ad hoc committee to address this. And so that's why it's on the agenda, if we should do that. We need to find somebody to sort of head up the committee. And, spearhead it. There's a lot of scary issues here. clear the NOV.
No,
And they haven't told you what you have to do with it.
no.
Well, you know what I had recommended before, and it worked, was setting up a testing. Like, we can't fix like 500 cases, right? We can't even know them all enough to be able to argue. You have to know one case, you have to know each case pretty well to argue. So what we could do is ask Public Works to set up a system whereby NOVs get cleared in our communities, right? And whatever that process is to set it up so that it's clear to everybody to work with it. And then, once the system process is set up, then we're gonna pick test dates and put it through the process, see how well that works.
Even before that, we need to define
True.
how it's done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
residents know what to do.
Yeah.
We don't know what to
Because
do.
everybody gets a different story.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a different
Yes,
violation.
yes, because it
One
shows that
person
she's.
sold the hand, and that person sold the hand, and the next person sold it. That's what it came out. It's crazy.
Right.
It's almost, so the restrictions would be,
I asked for this, I can't.
what is that what you expect?
I would think that's what it is, but I have looked.
I think the thing that really disturbs me most is the person that Lori Jenkins is trying to help, who actually cannot refinance her ranch out here on Crescent Mesa, and it's causing her serious financial problems because of the NOVs that have been filed against her property. And she's got a nice little ranch. I've been there 2 years ago. We were working on this for yeah.
No, this is the unpermitted rumination and the unpermitted,
See, that's the thing, I don't know this.
and the unpermitted, horse corral. So
Yeah, it was a horse corral.
there was no property,
But horse corral doesn't require permit.
but she's got structure.
She's got-
Horses sitting.
Yeah, and the house was built many, many years ago. And so the addition, you know, just turned into a huge nightmare. And it started out with illegal dumping on the property next to her, and
I
suddenly,
think it started off with, she would let the lady stay in a trailer on a property or RV, and the lady's ex-boyfriend followed it. That's what,
that is part of the story.
So we take action on a disgruntled boyfriend, and when a whole community gets up in arms about Cactus Creek's no action taken, there's got to be some balance here.
so,
There's
and
no
that
NOV.
guy's got a court case against him, so you can't say no action taken. So in our case, the ladies, this lady, she wasn't supposed to move out of her house, there was a reverse mortgage on there. Only her husband said, her husband died, now she can't refinance. So
Right.
that's
The
where
whole
this
thing
is.
is a nightmare. She's gonna lose that property if we don't get
Yeah.
some help. And we came and had a meeting with the county. I don't remember if you were in that
No.
meeting.
So
but
I talked to them both on this issue.
you talked to Lenny and Lauren.
So, would you guys want that to be the test case? That's the test case.
It's a most innocent person who's there, and I don't think she built any of those.
She was not.
Yeah, but I mean, innocent, non-innocent, whatever, whoever did it, the 10 owners back, whatever, you still need to have a process to do. So,
Well, and if you're correct, that's a, she doesn't have the money, she doesn't have money to take down her.
She hasn't done it in correction.
What?
She hasn't done it in correction.
She took her motor out,
Yeah.
but there's all these other things that we can go.
Well, and it kind of was minor stuff if you really look at it in my humble construction experience.
So, and now we're at the point where we say, well, these things are all built against code without building permits. So this is a notice that anybody who buys the property, and
30 years ago, too. The addition to the house.
Yeah, there's got to be a point, some point where something that was done 30, 40 years ago, has the house changed hands when it was done?
certainly it's
She
changed.
bought it that way.
She bought it that way.
Well,
She
So she inherited something,
I
so,
think she inherited.
well, I mean, she inherited, well, not by inheritance.
Right.
It was somebody else's problem, somebody else's violation that she now has.
Right, and we have another case on Escondido, the same way, and they actually took that building down. I was there with the building inspector on that one too. And suddenly then our building inspectors are walking around, they found other things. And that's the problem.
What I don't understand is the county does not keep your building.
Right.
90 days after you're done, if you say that you're licensed, they throw that stuff away. So how do they know when an addition is got permits and not got permits? How are they saying to the woman that this addition is not permitted? They have no, they have no knowledge.
I've got access to digital stuff that says, permit issue X, Y, or Z, so I don't know what they do. There's always a story that some permits from years ago were burned up. I don't, that's
Well,
true.
but I mean, if you don't, if you say this addition is not permitted, what is it? I read it again 2 days ago.
So I've seen when the group, they'll go based on the bill, what code it would have passed.
But you can't know that it's not the code because you can't look at, you don't have X-ray eyes, you can't say, oh, it's not,
Yeah.
Opening up stuff, where you take the ball, they were showing just a lot of parking. Now, they had a court over there, so I thought
right.
a little bit different thing,
I
but
know.
that's the only time I've ever seen where like everything's
I don't know
okay.
what to say. I think Michelle will agree with Michelle.
Right.
And then the one who was separated, not this, not a sidewalk here. They were going through it, opening a drywall.
Right. That's my point. They can't, they have to open up drywall and say it's not. And they're not, they can't look at somebody's house and say, well, that addition is not.
Well, so sometimes, so we have this issue that we have now where people were, and this is not an example of, we only investigate things from neighbors' complaints, but this is building. So they go there, and I know there's a couple of cases involving solar, people apply for solar. And so the inspector would go there and go, what's that right there? Well, that's my garage. It looks like it's converted into a house. Well, you can't do that. You have to get a permit. So it's
I
that,
don't know.
it's a second house on there. And they, in these, all cases I heard, there were about 3, they did it, yeah, we converted the house.
Okay, so the owner admitted it then, but you can't, my point is you can't just look at something and that's not.
Well, you can look at some of this. I mean, there are cases in Green Valley where, and that's a place where there's lots of, mysterious room additions. So a house is down 500 square feet, so it's really 1,000 square feet, and the breaker pan is in the middle of the house. It's supposed to be on the outside. So they say, well, I can't sign off on your whatever remodeling you guys do. Yeah, because this thing's got to be used over there, and that's thousands of dollars. So then they got to go to
Okay, that would make sense, but I mean, you can't, like,
Yeah.
that would never, I mean, Little Ranch never permitted, and it's still 150 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, there's sometimes that don't exist under permit, so they can't.
I think the frustrating thing for a lot of us, Chuck, is that we can't figure out how to satisfy the county. I mean, and you all know that the NOV that got filed on my son's property happened after we did
All the
exactly
trash is going on there.
everything. Hold on.
So there should be a document that what is wrong, what they said. Well, of course, I know it takes them 2 months usually to file an LLC. It goes way through the.
Dan Derringer filed it after he was there and inspected. Gotta get it. And he won't call me back.
Well, and I can ask for my vacation because he hasn't responded to me. Maybe that's what.
All right, we need to come up with a plan
Yes, we do.
to address our supervisor thing on these. This is a big deal for people. That you're gonna lose your property because of room addition 100 years ago, it's just not.
How about having to tear down that wonderful building that was on Escondido? They bought it with the building on there, not permitted, but when they went to refinance, they couldn't do that. So the building is gone. It was a 20 by 40, as I recall. I would hate to lose a 20 by 40 building when I paid for it.
keep trying just to live their lives.
And they can't do it without help. They don't know where.
A county worker won't come calling back because of vacation? Doesn't somebody know that person's job is?
No, but she said, for when I sent an email to them, I don't know, I just know that I asked.
I mean, I'm just saying, look, is it acceptable for somebody to get an NOV and nobody responds to them for how long? I know this has been going on for months. You've got to be able to say, Chuck, somebody's got to say, here's the report, here's what you need to do to cure it, here's how long you have to cure it before it moves to the next
Well,
stage.
so usually it doesn't stop.
What is that document? You can't get it.
No, it listed everything that was before the cleanup happened. Yes. And so then I went over there. Tried to, then when I didn't get any action, I started going to hospital. No, I was gonna downtown.
Chuck, you understand that?
I was gonna go miss.
Harris been a realtor in this town for a long time.
Okay.
It was ridiculous. You don't get the main rule of things that are law.
No.
And
No.
same thing applies to.
Right.
Yeah, and, I gave Yolanda, Annalise's email, so that she was.
They change. If the new inspector comes out, he'll look at the plans and go, oh, no, I want it to. And they can't do that, they cannot do that. They do that all the time, they're not allowed to. Because it's a ministerial action, and once that permit is approved, you can't go and say, now you gotta act.
They do that all the time. They did that on some of our critical systems.
I know.
Accessory.
Everybody fire got involved with solar and battery panels.
That's it.
Now, but in battery panels, LA Fire has to sign on that.
That just happened.
The only county in the United States. Yes, effort.
And now batteries, we're qualified to test the batteries, and they installed them, they weren't working quite right, they went back and fixed them, and worked on them. Well, now comes out, they, redo and plan for the fact county had to put in some elements or something, it can no longer be in a garage. So now the other company's gonna do it, we're not doing it. They've got to relocate them all outside. Outside. Wait, they're putting the batteries outside? But that's totally, I don't know. Outside. Somebody's gonna steal them. Well, they're on my property. Yes.
So the fiber installed 2 months ago, but they wanted space, they wanted sensors, all that.
Is this a county code or is it, yes, nobody, when did the board of supervisors adopt?
So, and I remember hearing this change, and I cannot remember from the state fire, but it was involving underwriter licensing, underwriter laboratory certification, and what accepted for certification. And so I could, and I know that the controversy you guys are talking about, consistent about what kind of batteries were allowed to be installed where. I couldn't tell you, so who was it?
I mean, yeah.
So, the county doesn't usually adopt things like that. The building code is, the uniform building code.
It's a state code.
Yes, yeah. But I cannot remember where the orders for what to do with the battery were. I think one of the issues was whether they were underwriter laboratories certified and
they will overheat and start a fire. Because if they get, if the piles get above 114 degrees, some really low number. But actually ambiently you get to there, that can happen. It's pretty rare to get that hot, but it does happen. And when you do a sun, you know, that's definitely gonna get that hot. You've got to be in here. I don't understand it.
There's a plug right there, plugging.
Well, you know what, let's ask about that. Yeah, that was, well, the ordinance way, and that was a, yeah, very helpful. Okay, so. Yeah.
So, all in favor? Motion carries.
Okay, so the committee is going to be Pam, you, and Lori. And Lori, and Lori, and Lori.
Well, I just texted Lori to see.
Yeah.
On the board.
I'm sure she will. Well, I mean, I'll help them.
I have no problem with that.
Thank you, that would be really great.
Firewise.
I'll put myself on. Well, if we become a firewise community, then a lot of people will have a easier time getting insurance, cheaper fire insurance. That's really important to do. But, you know, it's going to take another committee, firewise committee. And we had a gentleman here who, he's an insurance salesman, who's not here representing insurance. He's an NFPA member of the NFPA, National Fire Protection Association, saying that the NFPA does firewise community programs. And he says he's willing to work with our community so that we can become a certified firewise community. Just now, sort of linked a little bit, I think there's some, there should be some overlap with this county effort that, you know, meetings on Wednesday at 6:30 or 5:30 about getting community wired fire protection plans. So I think they're linked, they're similar efforts. So, you know, if we could get, at the last meeting, well, we put this on the agenda to see if we could form a committee to do this and see if we could get the community to become a firewise community, certified, you know, signed off firewise community. You have to do a bunch of stuff, which is definitely going to help us out. Does that have to do with the insurance? Well, if you were a firewise, I know friends that, you know, are losing their, so they can't get the fire insurance, and now all of a sudden the county decides we fire dangerous or something, and then the insurance just drops you. Right, and that's happening here. But according to what this gentleman said, is if you're a certified firewise community, they get, that helps with your insurance. You get a discount on the fair. Yeah, and also on the other, yeah, and on the other plans too. All we have to do.
And by the private lines as well.
Yeah, that's helpful, and you're more likely to get insurance. I think you get an automatic deduction on the fair plan. It will help with the other private. Right, so, and some people have. It was a long discussion last week at the insurance thing, and it was like, we pointed out that this fair plan is driving everybody into the fair plan. It was supposed to be a backup, nobody was really supposed to use it, but, yeah. And the fair plan, the insurance companies can make the bills huge, right? Yeah. So what's happening is the pool of people in the fair plan is growing, because the insurance companies just have to say, no, you don't get fire insurance. So driving you to the more expensive fair plan. Your house is the same, it's never changed. So the whole concept of fair plan is causing fair plan to expand and other regular insurance products to be produced.
Plus, you do not get liability, that's a separate policy. So
Well, that's what was written on ours, because it just happened in the last 2 weeks since the last week, that we got still take a higher rate for anything. You're gone. And they suggested that we contact the fair plan.
Yep.
And that they would, help us out, and then we could get a supplement through them, which is going to be probably a liability, But that's how they want to, they make a lot more money. You just say, because there's no requirement to give you insurance. So you just say no, and then they try to price it. So what we talked about last time was, taking the Florida case in particular and submitting an inquiry to the fire, insurance commission, because they can't raise your rates without approval from the commission. So you are supposed to be able to actually get the data that they need, an explanation and the justification. So I asked 3 different ways, how do we do that? And finally, the last time, he said, well, you submit an inquiry, find out. So that needs to be done too. So, I mean, that's part of what could be done as part of this effort. It's just that we need people in security to help. I mean, other people. You can't keep doing all the work, the whole town.
Did they say why they were dropping it? Did they use it? Did they say, well, I have farmers too? I mean,
And if you wasn't either, and I
and
had
then there's something that the firehouse is just how many miles, 1.5 miles down the road or something like that. How do they do something about?
I wonder if it would be better, kind of move the fire station to, where, they bought that right next door to us. We spent $1.5 million, $1.3 million, by 5 acres where they go. All the money that 15 years ago. Huge amount of money. Yeah. Right next door, right over there, the LA County Fire. So, they did the forest there, he said. I don't know it. I don't know. If that's the case, all I know is I have the deed. I have a board action. Offers a huge amount of money to go to, it's almost the same time as the land that is supposed to be here.
But in reality, the problem is the location of the fire departments. I'm within, what did you say, Jackie?
You were right in the care of 5 miles.
Exactly.
As the crow flies.
No, I know, but even driving, it was 5.2 miles or something ridiculous. And then I've got Alpha Fire Station, since I'm on Escondido. I haven't driven up 5 miles. That's okay. So we're sitting there with 2 LA County fire departments protecting our community. And we're dropping flocks, and have the so-called California fair plan that I don't call fair at all, when it's still $16,000, and I still have to,
What's under the
There's nothing about under the
I didn't know.
I'm just asking, that's legitimately our first, and then we're going to brush fire. They're usually there to put trucks on it. And we'll let it first.
Like, can't let me down, pull it out, okay.
Because that's our.
And the guy said, well, sometimes that happens, and you look at it, and say, well, the rate's not right, and then you fix the rates. He did say, so,
More so, but your house is not on fire.
mine, yeah, oh, no. And I'm on a paved road, I have massive access.
It's not even on my, the power stick that goes up like that. Appreciate people want it.
Our eyeball those.
I'll do the first thing.
That's not what we're doing.
No, they're not. What are they worried about? What do you guys want? I have no insurance now.
That's what you're pointing out, their bottom line is not harm, it's not paid. For any insurance, because the Edison keeps paying, they need for, the exception, of course, would be the ones fire projected the field gets it. But the Wildcat was Saddle Ridge, all of these, Thomas, they were all utilities. So it doesn't mean all that whole. The other thing is that you look at the majority of the people that you talk to that are having issues, we're all fine. Starting to I think they came in here, they saturated the area, and now they're afraid. I mean, it's like, you know, like a fire through here, they would be, I think that's really what's happening. All farmers bought, and you couldn't try to call the electric the house on campus, because of the high fire hazard, they fire the everything they got.
Berkshire, halfway, they're not ready. State Farm.
So what's the whole idea? What? Who did you get by? We don't have anybody today. Or we still have insurance. So, we have a lot of focus. So we just,
I don't have insurance.
so you go back to everybody.
And she can't leave it because it might start on fire, and I will be there.
People are gonna start losing their homes.
Well, yeah, my neighbors, his went from the same as mine, $3,600 a year to $16,000. He had to take the California Fair Plan.
Well, I think
And
that
his
is,
age, his house is the same age as mine.
and they said, he said the fair plan goes through grade now, so grade is, I didn't, it's odd to me, but it's just a rubber stamp, but they have to justify it, because I read the state law says you have to justify the rates, and they have to be commensurate with your exposure. So they have to demonstrate it. That's what I read to the guy, and they kept ignoring it. Yeah, I read right out of the statute, that the rates have to be commensurate with the exposure to your customer, to the, also stuff. I don't know what you guys want, there's stuff that has to be done on this, you know, it could be done, but, you know, yeah.
It's just a one-time scam. What do we have to do?
Well, I think it would be a one-time thing saying, like, take a policy, contact the commissioner's office, show us the rates you put here.
I'm talking about the firewalls.
Oh, yes, that's what I understand, yes, it would be, yeah, there's.
So once you're certified, you're trusted.
Right, there might be some maintenance requirements, like to update your plan every 5 years or something. I don't know,
So who's responsible for the plan?
well, it would be any entity who use the plan. So,
I'm sure that the county of Los Angeles can do this one for us.
well, that's one of the questions I want to ask if this thing on that thing. Like, so what do you, you know,
I think we need to ask that question.
you could just like, I mean, I can't. What it does is it categorizes, we're now in something called a high point. And supposedly there's all the stakeholder output, outreach, all this other stuff, but we haven't heard words before. And if it's just gonna be a BS piece of crap that you normally do with, oh, well, it's for climate adaptation, which doesn't help us at all, other than like, go to a cooling center if you're hot. It's stupid, right? So, you know, I have a feeling that's all it's going to be. I won't know until Wednesday, but if we can make it into something that's useful for us, turn our community into firewalls, then that would be worthwhile. But at this point, it's like it's just another county, you know, county, whatever, circular file effort that doesn't spend probably a lot of grant money to hire the contract to write your plan.
The other, didn't know which was, the other valley one. Which would have been more nice.
Oh,
Well,
I'm gonna take one.
Then sure. Yeah, I didn't know which one was really. So Echo Valley is here, and I'm almost sure you guys are, I think, which is really put up the town. So it's right where Lakeview is, actually.
When is the one that's done?
I think it's like August 27th. I think it's there, but it's, you know, it's late.
I do it. You know, they call you a high touch, what the hell is that?
It's higher than.
No, but it says right down, it's something called high country, that you don't like it.
So what is the meeting on Wednesday, Paul?
It's all about, really only like, you know, Little Rock, maybe Dental Baker. Because both of them have
Please, please, because this is terribly accurate.
Yeah, except for you have discussion as to chaparral is really like thousand chaparral. And then there's chaparral like here where there's 10 feet between the juniper bushes. You know, it's bucking you.
Well, they always have that big.
Exactly. There is, they can stand up in the hillside.
Yeah, River Valley.
Yeah, exactly. But Akron's not, it's more grassland. But anyway, that's our own bridge.
So, forward, this is the firewise thing.
Yeah. I'll make a note that you can try to get this part of it. What's that?
My development is actually zoned low fuel.
Where are you going?
He does nothing.
Starboard Ranch.
No, you're definitely very high fire.
They rated as, well, on the present age, right? And, yeah, a whole bunch of us that came back and said, yeah, you guys are low fuel here for your streets, all the grass.
Oh, those fuel, okay.
Low fuel.
Oh, okay. Well, I can look at that.
Yeah, I mean, kind of what you're saying, Mom.
Yeah.
Most of the
Well,
areas.
they said that the high fuel aggregators thing to us was outside of the agreement.
Oh, really? The south side of it?
That's what they were saying, there was more low fuel
Well, you
here.
guys, you're on the north side, Kelly. Yeah, well, no, you have to sign up.
I didn't sign up.
Okay, then, we're gonna post on the website.
Are you still gonna?
Well, you have to register for it, so.
Subject to issues and your line.
Yeah, I have it written right here, CENTCOM,
Okay, so we'll move on to council member comments. Well, Jim? Council member comments. We'll start with
you like, people.
whatever you like, or not. Do you have anything you want to propose, anything you generally want to say, community-wise, announcements? It's kind of up to you.
Really why? On that radio that you're talking about, I was going to bring up Wednesday on, community senior and a member of the board to share this. I got somebody from Catherine's supervisor, Catherine's Barker's office to come. She wants me to speak at, I already had a speaker scheduled. So there she's going to give us updates of what we covered in LA County that affects Akron for those. Okay, great. So I said, well, that's good. It looks more to the seniors, so he doesn't have a newspaper around for us to look at. And let alone, he doesn't even go on Facebook. So,
Okay.
coming to your meetings here.
No, don't cover up for anybody.
Yeah.
Well, you could, when you talk, you could drive to, you're gonna post both the radio announcement and the CW, the.
This is the way we're starting off the new year by lying to our president of the boosters.
The website, so they can pull it off there.
I'm kind of interested in that when you first went to the fire department about it. Had friends there. Oh, well, I thought it was good. So I thought, I'm going to talk to them and ask them to stay there now.
I just did the registration.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
One question.
more questions.
First, last name, your address, actually.
Oh.
And your email, so. Yeah. It's right off the QR code. I did it on my phone.
Oh, you're good.
It's done.
accommodation work. We don't have that.
And he talked about maybe implementing something for community members, exemplary.
Right,
And one more.
right, yeah, we did talk about
We
that.
talked about it. So I think we should move forward
Okay.
on
Yeah.
figuring out what it is we're going to do, how it is.
Well, he's retired, I mean, May 31st. He
And
retired.
what the parameters are going to be. You know, I'm not suggesting that we're going to be giving out accommodations to somebody who's running it.
He was for like 30 plus years.
Yeah.
It
So
was,
he worked in Malibu.
No, but I mean, I don't know where it was, but it was.
Well, I don't know, it just says Malibu.
I think that was probably the last unit.
We don't know, I mean, no, he looked at numbers on building. No, I thought, I don't know. Yeah, you know,
I don't have any.
They had a brother.
Right.
They did just different books.
No, you're correct.
Okay, yeah, no, and I really love that people know me. Worked a lot with, a lot of work. Yeah,
Last couple of years, staff has been trying to really be small pieces part of that.
okay.
Well, so we don't know what to do about it.
When the board is. Whatever I read is what I.
And there were some jobs that you had to be a citizen for. In other words, couldn't be an immigrant from anywhere. You,
So I know, but, well, I could share with her, right?
Yeah,
But
no,
you don't
they're
have to
all
be
jobs.
here.
You have to be
You don't have to be here, there's no requirement to show you're a citizen.
Like I said, citizen.
So you can be here illegally.
well, you could be, but otherwise you couldn't be hired to your career legal. And so there were a few positions like that, like the department director had this. I just think we're good to be that.
Well, now you don't have to show your,
You're a citizen.
which means you don't have to be here illegally. That's.
Okay,
No, it means you don't have to be
Okay.
a citizen.
Well, it's assumed you're here legally, it's assumed you have a.
But that's what I'm saying.
You don't have to provide it.
I was,
Yeah.
and no one ever asked me what, about people or not, but I don't do it.
Yeah, but they didn't make that distinction when they adopted it.
No,
So, I mean, I would be fine with that. That's not what it said. Yes. So
How about changing the charter so that we can, they can fire the sheriff even though we voted or whatever.
You know, that still has to be voted on.
Okay, so you're not going to make a prediction.
It's tomorrow.
No,
They have to vote on that.
I know,
Right, but here's what's going to happen. Here's my prediction. I'm sorry. We will all go out and vote for another sheriff. Going away. I'm not for him, I support him, but I'm not. Whatever, we don't. He'll be reelected. And at the same time, Board of Supervisors will give them the power to remove with a 4 or 5 vote because everyone in California, everything they put on that ballot is 73%. So they're going to vote yes to give them the power. At the same time, he's going to be reelected and that's my prediction.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the community is quite happy with the current chair.
I don't think.
And therefore he's not removable at this point.
Well, I'm not going to go into detail, but if you actually read the LA County Charter, there's a section 56 that, you know, if a charter is amended, and the amendment will allow for an elected officer to be removed, the elected officer will stay in his or her position until their term of office is completed. If the amendment happens after the sheriff, you know, was interested in this, like, even if this passes, according to the county charter, they'll have to change other language in the charter to remove that restriction to black, is complete as a black thing. So, and what the board is voting on does not have that language correct. So, there's no way.
So she's.
Now, if it passes, it could not, in the next election, the person could lose it. Because the charge is being amended, not in the cycle where, and the way it works is that the charter amendment doesn't become effective until the Secretary of State accepts it and files it. That is going to happen after the Reba is re-elected. So he will be elected when the amendment happens. So therefore, according to Section 6, he will finish out. He will have to be able to finish out the next term. So, county.
Isn't it ironic in a period of time when every election question, whether it's yes or not, there's the county council come up with rules, I don't care how you vote, we decide whether he stays or goes. It just makes no sense. Whether you're
You don't like the way you vote,
it's
it's that simple.
no sense, you know.
And the county, the place that did this first, and, you know, the losses, the backside division, it said that we will not be held from Chief for public years because there's nothing that line is on this.
The fact that they're even considering it.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's, what they're saying is, what the people of LA County want means nothing to them. You guys elected this guy. We don't agree with it. Your wishes are of no concern. So how do you go in front of the Board of Supervisors on a Tuesday or Thursday or whatever and speak on an issue and expect them to even consider what you're saying? They've already told you. They don't care what you think. Your opinion, your expression, what you want is not relevant. They told us that by trying to remove our share. So, and this is, I'm not finished. So, this goes to the Board of Supervisors, they're not listening, they don't care. They don't care what we want, they've already told us that. And then it trickles through the whole county mechanism, and they all have the same attitude. And that is what is going to happen. And that is it's kind of happening now, but it's going to be much worse. It's what they are starting. That is the ball they are running. They are telegraphing to all the little departments under them that we are no consequence.
So, Shelley Fuel announced to the board during public comment period. She announced to the public, right in the middle of the public comment period, we only have to allow you to speak. We are not part of it.
Oh.
I remember when she said that, Jack?
Thank you, Chuck.
And, I think I might have yeah, so it's terrible.
One of the usual callers, one of the usual speakers now calling me on that. Wayne from the casino. Remember that?
Oh, wait.
He owns property in Wayne.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so, you want to do that, make it,
She actually,
I think the unanimous vote, make something like that. But even that stuff, they need to.
well, Supervisor Barger voted against it. She didn't state it. Boy, I've seen two different statements coming out saying we should watch the
Well, let's hope the voters say, no, we don't want to give up our authority to let the sheriff.
Yeah. But how are they going to, yeah, okay.
So obviously, there's the fact that existing branches.
Because more than that. Granted, it completely eliminates our ability to have any say in the business.
Right.
It doesn't disenfranchise, it removes our ability.
But it fundamentally.
It invalidates.
So when that's not elected, failure to do is okay. They're not gonna file on these yearly basis. No law. So they don't.
Right.
Right? Our sheriff came out and said, you're be held responsible, we're gonna put in some reports. And we got to do the rest.
Make sure you have registration because you get your picture taken.
But if there's no file charges, we don't want.
Oh, we all are PTSD. We should all get our pictures taken for our volunteer badges. So that way we don't have to sign in all the time and we can just wear them. You know, Susie, Lee, I don't know, Lee won't be there because she's on trip. You know, all of us, Maury's a coach now.
Hey, why don't you guys use,
I'm gonna do it, I'm sending it.
all my counterparts, buddies?
What? I do what? No, why would I do that? That's not mine, I wouldn't do that. But you need to do that.
So, and that fundamental changes, like, how, I know that primary overall is up, but it's still kind of accepted right now, so. Antelope Valley happens to be one of the ones that, the primary go up, did not go as high as the rest of the county. Most definitely work the same up here, so removed from like other areas where you're down in East LA, probably not living in East LA, probably around work. There's so many, the majority of our personnel live in the local area, they're not gonna let their homes burn down, they're not gonna let their kids. That's our primary kind of on that.
And that's,
He's doing what he was elected to do.
Getting better at talking about.
Interesting. I don't know, I've heard Tom speak a couple of times, and very serious.
He's better than I thought. Sometimes we're not there at reading or not on some other things. We start here, and sometimes we ended up on, Gerald Ford's like favorite shoes. Yeah, he was very yeah. He used it and like.
All right, yeah. He had a question. Okay. All right, unfinished and new business. So, unfinished, we have obviously the Firewise.
yeah, I have Firewise on the IBC connection.
Okay. And, one thing that we wanted to bring up was, Jack and I had spoken about this about putting together a list of items where the county has less than forthcoming and less
residents are being billed, property owners. It goes to every house.
The bill is on your property, right? Except for there is no, people who vacant land that have nobody living on it, no residents are going to be billed. So, what they never told us was that this.
They don't have to provide trash service to people who are living out there on.
Illegal.
Somebody else, yeah.
Right.
Well, and illegally in other cities. No, they say out there, they say that it wasn't supposed to be in that section. It was supposed to be used in other districts, or used in other areas, only in a disaster or something. So, but, you know, like I said, look for it. Donna told me 2 months ago, stop talking about TBD. There's no reason to talk about it. It's not going to pass. So, here's 2 months later. Okay. Let's put a fork in the heat safety on. That's not I'm glad you did a GD test.
Well, they did fix that one, I think Supervisor Martin had a lot to do with it. They can then change the policy to say, okay, no development near my fire hazard. So they are surrounded by.
So, back to what we were talking about before.
Yeah, yeah. We can, I know that now. Yeah, we can put that on the. Well, yes, what would you call that? I think, what would be your, like your agenda? Yeah,
I would define it as areas where maybe the county is less than, in terms of communication.
Communication has been a huge issue for a long time.
In terms of any kind of service, not, so I'm not sure what.
how can I just call it?
And what we talked about was a list of all the things that have gone ignored, reversed, or like the other one was the gated water situation for the pipeline. When we had all those phone meetings and talked about the structure for building the pipeline, and poof, but everybody knew and it's done. You know, that's no longer a thing. Another example is,
This is called county communication.
okay,
I like the book more. Yeah.
did you discuss the last meeting, the Alamo said the water pipe?
Yeah.
And what, Chris has talked about and all?
No, I haven't had a chance to watch that movie, that video, that record. Well, go ahead.
So- What was brought up was the size of the pipe, why is it so large? And county, Arizona's county, or Buffalo, said that the hydrology is changed. And that to me infers that somewhere in the world of fluid dynamics, there's been a paradigm shift, and what they knew 20 years ago is no longer valid for what they know. In my engineering knowledge, there's been no change. So there's nothing that changes. That's right. The first two pipes, the first two pipes. So, in Chris, you all was, zeroing in on trying to get an explanation for that. There wasn't. It was, the hydraulics have changed. And so are they saying that the original contractor did a bad job? They didn't say that. Whoever designed that pipe did, wrote on that saying that it happened. That was not said. So I don't know. There's no explanation for that.
Well, why don't we put that on the agenda for the next meeting? With the RPG, not the RPG project, we really don't want to get.
No, but the water issue.
The water issue, right, and EIR, so by county,
I'd like to get clarification on that.
water was issued with,
Pipeline for the arts.
the pipeline is sized at you're gonna have to serve 37,000 customers. Well, which is serious.
The other interesting statement that
So
was
it's like,
made,
where's all this water going?
right, you know,
Where's it coming from?
the question was asked was, will this ever circle back towards Santa Maria? And they said, oh, no, that'll never happen in Santa Maria, blah, blah, blah,
Well,
blah.
then where's the 37,000 people?
Right, so Chris said, well, what happens when Santa Maria annexes our direction? And they said, oh, no, Santa Maria is only annexing to the south.
Oh, what?
That was the statement, that was the reassuring statement.
What are they smoking? That's,
Meat can.
Yeah, that's the whole
Yeah.
Sand Canyon area, right?
that's not south.
It's north of Meat.
Yeah.
And then there's,
Not south.
between Stonecrest and Davenport, that whole area.
That's east.
No, I'm saying, but that's still
Yeah.
north.
But the statement was made, don't worry, Santa Maria is only entrance to what's south.
Yeah, but that's totally not true. Because Davenport is east.
That was the statement.
So my east was that.
Those are both being.
Water pipe.
I think, Santa Maria has an insatiable appetite for taxation. Or basically that.
All right, okay.
All right?
Thank you.
I gotta,
Good night.
I gotta be back on at 5 in the morning, so.
Oh, I think we're about to wrap up.
Yep. Okay, anything else for the next agenda?
What did we do? I don't remember.
Oh,
We've
I've
got
got,
RTG,
I've got Firewire.
Firewire.
Election.
Yep.
And Tom already. Weather radio, county communication issue. I wrote water issues, pipeline for RCG. Yeah, I did. All right.
So, meeting adjourned,
Yeah, okay, good.
I don't want to. It's Friday night, but it's not. I've been up since like 4
Am I